Man, if this isn't typical Natureboy, this guy went live during his trial. I mean, during his trial. Didn't the judge just ask how did he get a phone? He went live during the trial? Wait a minute. I smell a rat. What's going on? How did he get a phone while locked up, while on trial to go live? I don't believe him. Fake news. You're going to have to roll that bean footage.
My brand new YouTube page. You can find a lot of great content there, folks. And I believe anyone should be permitted to do social media, but there's like a time and a place for it. Okay? Like for me, I'm not going to do it during
these people had fun with him, didn't they?
The show here, right, when I'm live. No, because I'm doing my job right now. And I don't know if I was a criminal defendant on trial for rape and was behind bars being detained. I don't know if I'd go live on Instagram. But this defendant did.
So yeah, y'all. The judge caught COVID. She tested positive for COVID.
Oh.
They don't want you to know that.
This wasn't during the day he got sentenced. We already heard this. They trying to make it seem like it was, it was during his trial though. I said that was dumb. So, yeah.
Trying to hide that. The judge tests positive for COVID. Out of all the cheating they did in this case, the judge tests positive for COVID. They don't say that on the news. They just trying to protect her some kind of way so she won't be shown to have tested positive for COVID. Out of nowhere, you can cheat all you want with this man law, but at the end of the day, there's the laws of the universe.
I want to see what they're going to say.
See, you're being corrupt, and it's the laws of the universe, and this is what happened. She tested positive for COVID. I tell my lawyer, this is when I know I'm getting railroaded, because I'm telling my lawyer, I'm saying, I don't want to go in there with her with COVID. They're already cheating on me. They're cheating in the case as it is. I don't want to go in there right now.
Yeah, that was after court. From behind bars. Live on Instagram. And, we can debate the validity of the point he's trying to make, which could be very important, depending upon, your perspective on all those things related to COVID and who has it, who doesn't have it, what should be done. But still, you're going live during your trial where you're facing a lot of time in prison, and you're talking about the judge. Now, who are we talking about here? His name is Eligio Bishop, and he some call him a cult leader. That's sort of the accusation. You can make your own judgment on that. But he's got a bunch of people who follow him.
It's a fact.
Some men, few more, I think, are women. And he's got this organization. They're the women. And there's rules, etc. A lot of the rules involve him engaging in sexual acts with the women. But most cult leaders do that. I don't know if he is a cult leader, but I've seen that in my career. And most cult leaders sort of set up the cult so they can have sex with women. But anyhow, he's on trial, though, facing sexual...
Trust me, sir, he was a cult leader.
Assault rape charges. Very, very serious charges. He's been in court. There he is. He has the mask on. He's concerned about COVID. No problem with that. But today, he didn't even go into the courtroom. He ended up from a jailhouse courtroom. Take a look, remote, not in the courtroom for his own trial. He had to appear remote. And it's all because of his concern about COVID in the courtroom. You heard him on Instagram Live. Now let's go inside the courtroom to listen to his attorney and the judge going back and forth about this issue.
I don't know that the court can put him in a position where it's his health and his concern. He's wearing a mask and he is any of his witness or one of his witnesses is unwilling to be able to come here to court to testify in the courtroom with COVID, and then he's being compelled to go forward with a trial where he's entitled to be present physically in court, and be in a courtroom where a person is testifying for COVID, obviously the most vital person, which is he. And so his position is that he's asking the court not to proceed until the court has tested negative or gone outside of the CDC guidelines.
Wearing a mask, I'm happy to wear a mask for the duration of the trial. Attorneys are ready to go forward, jurors are ready to go forward. Nobody, thankfully, has gotten sick. I was contagious on Monday when I didn't know I had it. So nobody's gotten it since then. I've been in close contact with my staff, closer contact with them than I am with you all. Luckily, none of them have it. We have an air purifier system going on, a machine going on in the courtroom. We're taking every possible precaution to keep people safe, including providing masks.
I didn't hear that part the last time. She said I was contagious Monday when I didn't know I had it.
Allowing anybody who wants to wear a mask to wear one. Hand sanitizer, all of that. Mr. Bishop, I know you're doing everything you possibly can to try to get this case to go away, or at least get away from me. But that's not how it works. So, okay, we've got the feed going, so we...
Bishop is indicated he did not make that statement on the jail. I want to make sure.
All right, there wasn't... It's interesting how he was able to post an Instagram live post from the jail, but somebody emailed my office that there was some post. I wouldn't go... Yeah, don't talk about it, Mr. Bishop. It's not going to help you.
So after losing the arguments to have the case postponed because of the COVID issue, that defendant stayed in the jail, felt like he was safer in the jail, and appeared from there. And there he is. And it's just a strange world, right? Think about where we were a few years ago.
It'd be crazy if in a week or two we hear cult leader dies in jail from COVID.
Like, even if people didn't have COVID, we didn't even have trials. And now we've got a trial and someone apparently has COVID in the courtroom. And
how he gonna say someone? She just admitted that she had it. Now cut it out. And when they came back, they asked her, did she retake her test? Does she still have it? She was like, I don't know. I haven't had a test. I mean, okay, make excuses for the lady. Go ahead.
Apparently it's the judge. And everything's continuing. Now, it did continue. And there were some more important witnesses who took the stand for the defense. Followers. I was going to say members of the cult, but that's up. The jury can decide what they think about this organization. But followers of this defendant.
But see, that's another thing I don't like. I mean, that's another giveaway. Because, again, you're trying him for being a cult leader. But those weren't his charges, though. His charges was rape. So you should be trying him on that and not about being a cult leader. It's not, the jury shouldn't, nobody who is supposed to be an analyst of actual court trials should be sitting up here saying the jury should make a decision whether or not he was a cult leader or not. Show me a charge he had that said cult leader. I've seen so many cases time and time again where they be like, yeah, my client's a butthole. Yeah, you don't like him, but he did not do this. It's not about whether you like him or not. It's the same thing. It's not about whether they think he's an actual cult leader or not. Is that one of the qualifications of a cult leader? Is that like number one on the list, RAPE, to commit that? Is that one of the stipulations of being a cult leader? Because that might be relevant then. I mean, why y'all don't even try to hide nothing?
Took the stand in his defense. Take a look.
They was loving it.
First off, if you haven't made money with AIS, wealth building opportunity.
The bishop has different characters that he
I ain't gonna listen, dude. This dude. He. Okay, well, they all do.
From for the production?
Yes, he did.
Can you tell us some of the characters he would do?
Mr. Bishop, Dr. Bishop, it was like a psychologist character that he would play to help some of the members go through anything that they were going through. He had Uncle Fernando.
What was Uncle Fernando?
It was just like a comedian.
Okay.
Just,
Okay. Anyone else that you saw him act as?
3 guys.
Okay, what was that?
That was just a character. If you look at the spiritual meaning of 3, it's the perfect number. It means knowledge, wisdom, and being in harmony with the universe. So that was a character.
I didn't listen to his testimony. I mean, who he keep looking at? He sounded like he got up there and lied too.
That he played, and we all agreed to push that character to the public.
Has you ever witnessed any acts of violence between Mr. Bishop and women in the group?
No, sir.
Have you ever seen him punch or hit or kick somebody?
No, sir.
How about
Did he ever punch, hit, or slap you?
surround them and body slam them or anything like that?
No, sir.
Has you ever seen him commit any physical acts of violence against?
No, sir.
Has you ever seen her with any bruises or anything like that Mr. Bishop would have placed on her?
No, sir.
What about women? Did you
Is it just me, or is his lineup? Okay.
see or hear Mr. Bishop direct women to hit other women on his path?
Not that I've seen, sir.
So everything wrapped up today in terms of evidence and arguments, and tomorrow on Verdict Friday, the jury will begin their deliberations. Let's bring in our think tank tonight. Joining us in Atlanta, Georgia, criminal defense attorney Eklund Mercy. Also with us in Phoenix, Arizona, the attorney who represented Jodi Arias. And someday, again, maybe next week, I'm just not going to mention her name, Kirk Nermy is with us. And in Los Angeles, California, president of the West Coast Trial Lawyers and former federal prosecutor, Nima Rahmani. All right, Eklund, you're in Georgia. You're in courtrooms in Georgia. What would Eklund do if you're in that situation?
Oh, there's no trial, because the issue is that we were there. Hundreds of thousands of people lost their lives, and when we the difference is we have COVID protocols to prevent the spread of COVID, and one of the protocols were like negative tests. Before we could even open things, we needed negative tests. So the idea that although preventative measures were done afterwards, he, as a defendant on a trial for his life, has absolutely the right to ask for postponement.
And see, she's correct. And one thing I want to say too, I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, you did it at all." Now you were, and even the judge was saying that, which I think is unfair. She shouldn't have a right to say that. She shouldn't have a right to say, "Oh, I'm going to put your life at risk because because of my opinions of what you may stand for or what you have done." She knowingly has it. Okay, so I don't think people who are talking crap, okay, we're not, this is, okay, we just gonna act like it's just another person. Not that is Natureboy, okay? First, you have to be willing to get past that. You got to be able to get past that to see, like, that you should not be okay with a lot of stuff that took place here, because you think they're gonna say, "Oh, I won't do it to you, I'll only do it to Natureboy." You're out your rabbit. Now, he going back to a jail cell. Okay? Anybody else in that courtroom who is not a prisoner, and it looks like he was the only one, if they so happen to catch it, they got every shot in the world out here in the free world. They can make any choice that they so make, and someone else can help them if they're too weak to make it, to help them get over it, save their lives, whatever. Okay? We're not going to act like just because things have died down or it's been a while that this isn't supposed to be as, so what is that what we're saying? It was a hoax? It never was that serious? Because a lot of people died. It's on record from this. I mean, when he go into that cell, and we are talking about Georgia jails, which they're bad. You better look some stuff up. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, one dude got ate alive by bed bugs. You better do some research. But he's gonna be stuck in a prison. If let's say he gets it, clearly he knows he can catch something. Clearly, all that he was talking was a bunch of crock of crap, for the most part. But he knows he can catch it. And he's got to be in the cell at their mercy. If they're acting like this about this, imagine if he says, I feel like I have it. And everything from there, imagine how much care or concern they're going to give him. Again, y'all, not liking a person and wanting them to suffer. I mean, I can't speak for people who he's hurt personally, because he hadn't done that to me, and I know I'd be singing a different tune. That's why I said when I saw what Pice and what he said, what he had to say, I was like, hey, you can't do nothing but respect that. So
because you don't know his story, we don't know. We don't know how COVID can affect him. We don't know if he has a respiratory issue. We don't know if he visits people in jail. There's so many things that we're not considering, and I think that it should have been for the purposes of judicial economy, because I think that he has a very good appealable issue that court should have stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Ever feel like technology is getting in the way of your
honestly, it makes me side-eye the whole situation and wonder if we're not being bamboozled in some way. Has anybody ever thought about that? Because, listen, if I got this dude, we got this dude, right? We gonna put him away. Clearly, to us, from what we see, they clearly want to put him away. Why would you jeopardize that over just waiting when it's already almost the weekend until Monday to finish? Why give him yet another something? Give him something else that he can bring up in an appeal. It just seemed like too much. So you saying the judge ego was the issue? What was the rush? They was determined to do what they were gonna do. He had no defense, and the defense didn't even try, in my opinion. So that was sold up. It was in the bag. He ain't going nowhere. He's arrested. I think that was too much to be not look at it with a side eye. I'm just saying, man.
He felt safer in jail than inside the courtroom.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, obviously, as the judge pointed out, this man is doing everything he can to delay the trial and or get a new judge on the trial. That's obvious. But I think in his zeal to do that, as Eklund kind of touched on, he might have pointed out a really important issue. He might have highlighted something that could get his case overturned, because I cannot think of, and this is going to be an issue, I think, of first impression, right? When is the defendant's health and safety and possible life being put in jeopardy by the judge that's presiding over his case, right? So his choice is possibly put himself in jeopardy and or not attend his trial. And in that regard, I think Eklund is spot on. The judge should either delay the trial until she's test negative, what have you, because she's putting all the health of all these people at risk. And I know if I was the defense attorney, I certainly wouldn't want to be there under those circumstances. I don't know that if counsel has voiced that or not, but yeah, in his zeal, he's...
Yeah, and then because he mentioned that, y'all, it was so insulting to us that are watching this for her to sit up here and say the jury's here, everybody's here. Well, if she is going to continue, who gets to walk in and say, I'm not showing up? The jury? Will they hold them in contempt? The defense attorney? I'm sure he could raise questions, but he's been given a little pushback here and there, so he's already pushing it per se. I don't think he wants to be the one to cut up alongside of Eligio. I mean, he did try to speak up for him a couple of times, you know, and I'm pretty sure he's going to have to pay for that some kind of way. You know how that goes. But her bailiff, I mean, clearly she's got a lot of power. So who's going to be bold enough to say, oh, I'm not coming in, you know? So it's just, but she does not have a right to make that decision to put everybody's life in danger just because she knows she can intimidate them into still coming to work. It's kind of the same thing that they're actually convicting him on, if you think about it. They wanted to be able to prove with their witnesses that he had intimidation powers. He had, you know, he was the higher figure. They had something to fear. So even without, you know, physical abuse at the time or anything like that, he still had the same thing she had over everybody in that courtroom.
Stumbled across what I think might be a legitimate issue.
Nima Romani, this is a defendant who has shocked me twice today. First, you know, the Instagram Live.
Okay, here's my prediction. And in comes the Wicked Witch of the East, and they get a booming defense attorney, and they go through either retrial. I'm thinking retrial, honestly, but at least an appeal, but I'm thinking they're going to get retrial. And he gets what, y'all? I'm not going to say out. I would have said that before I heard his interrogation. After hearing his interrogation, it's a long shot for him not to be sentenced. It really, really is, because that is just, according to what the law, you know, considers to be RAPE, that was a full-on confession. So I could see him getting there is no, I mean, I don't know the legal possibilities that he all has here, but something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen. If somebody come up with the money and old girl is here, yeah.
From behind bars. Second, he didn't testify.
Why would he?
Well, Vinny, you know, Instagram Live, TikTok Live, you know, I'm a big fan, but not for criminal defendants when you're on trial. And, you know, I would have expected this defendant to testify because he's taken every opportunity to tell his story on social media and elsewhere. Maybe he finally listened to his lawyers and he's gone through many of them. You know, and echoing what Eklund and Kirk said, you know, if you're the judge here, and I know the CDC guidelines have changed a little bit from 5 days to 24 hours, but you really want to make sure that these cases are bulletproof on appeal. Sometimes judges just want to move forward, especially when they're frustrated with the pace of a case. They don't want to waste the jurors' time. But, you know, putting this case on hold for, you know, a day or two, even pushing it out to next week, I think would have avoided an unnecessary appellate issue down the road.
Yep.
Now, for an appellate issue to occur, Eklund Mercy, they need to convict him. This is a fascinating case. Like, there's an accusation of the revenge porn, but the most serious is the sexual assault rape here. And I'm wondering, you know, you're talking about members of this following, this carbonation. What will it take for this jury to be convinced that this was a sexual assault versus someone who was in this polyamorous thing and was a little bit upset about the way things went? I don't know. It just seems like it's not your classic sexual assault case or sexual assault accuser.
I honestly don't think it.
You know, it's weird that they're showing this picture. I don't recall ever seeing this picture, but he was clearly Natureboy at the time because of his hair. I think it's weird that they're showing this picture. I think anybody watching this who watches them may have seen this picture, but that's a rare. You almost never, ever see him with a GUN in his hand. Huh. And how is that associated with a cult leader? Come on, guys. Don't be so typical.
Matters. I think he went it procedurally. The fact that there was a positive COVID test negates all of that. I think that he has the defense rights itself. The fact that he also showed damage and that he didn't testify on his own behalf, because it's either testify and be subject to COVID or, you know, be in the jailhouse and test. And
that's why I told y'all when I was narrating on this that I see strategy here with this. I mean, I get it. And, you know, this is the same thing that got him and Janae in that situation. I just see it playing out here. You know, people who like to be in control and have power, and that's him. And it's definitely the judge. And what judge wouldn't be, you know, this type of person who likes to be in control because they're used to being in control. But when you, oh gosh, I mean, this woman, I just don't think she made a lot of good decisions that's going to help her in the long run. If you want the conviction, act like it. But at the end of the day, she was determined to not give him what he want. But at the same time, he was coming up with strategies to actually get what he felt like he needed. I'm not going to say what he wanted. I'm going to say what he felt like he needed. Because he needed blatant issues that they really cannot deny. You know, I see a lot of different things that he could try and get an appeal on, and they can also shut him down. Shut him down on this, shut him down on that. But when it comes to what took place with this, it was blatant, and they actually cannot deny that. It's a decision she should not have made, and that is why he kept asking, is this on record? And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if him and his attorney had not discussed taking this route. That's another reason why I found it so interesting how his attorney seemed so unbothered and, you know, reading his notes and highlighting the entire time and just letting them to do their thing. So I think that it's possible that he and Booker worked together more than they did not. Because I'm going to tell you something. Natureboy, and I found this interesting, he never made it clear that he was going to testify. I mean, he did not say either way, but he never made it clear. Not when he was talking in his live did he indicate he was going to testify. And the attorney said more than one time, and I caught it each time. It's, you know, something you just kind of take a note of. He made it clear to say, my client has not yet decided if he's going to testify. I felt like these two were working together more than not with a strategy. And I think we see that, you know, it's highly likely that they did.
Risk testifying via television. So I think that his rights were so infringed that it doesn't matter the facts at this point.
So you're already using ChatGPT, and well, that's
me. Your thoughts? Do you think this is an easy one for the jury, considering the relationships and the circumstances surrounding the accuser and the defendant?
I think it is going to be easier for the state than I originally thought about, because you think about the revenge porn aspect of this case, right? The idea that this woman left after this sexual encounter and he publishes this stuff. That shows a level of control. We've heard from other members of this carbonation about how they weren't supposed to eat till Mr. Bishop ate, how he was kind of in control.
Yeah, but that didn't have nothing to do with the actual charges, so cut it out. And I believe they said this man is a defense attorney, so he should not be speaking like this. I'm seeing a lot of biasness, and I'm not going to use the R word, but that's what I'm saying when I'm saying biasness, because how many of these have we listened to, and they speak from a defense attorney's point of view, from their aspect. I wouldn't advise my client, or they speak about what would be better for the defense client because you're a defense attorney, okay? But when you're saying stuff like this for a defendant, like against a defendant, you know good and heck well the things that you're mentioning does not have anything to do with the actual charges. Now, without looking at the evidence, because Natureboy and the Three Stooges over there have been saying that this was posted before she left. I know that there was some talk about it also being posted again after she left, but I can't recall whether it came from other people online or it came from them. But I know for a fact that they said that particular video, along with other content of the same, had been posted already with her consent before she left. Go back to his interrogation video. He said she did not contact him to ask him to take it down or nothing. She just went straight to the charges. Okay. And the Three Stooges also said the video was they were showing the date, remember? Before their Twitter got taken down. Okay. So has this guy seen the court documents, or is he just going by hearsay that he posted it afterwards? I think he's making that assumption because he heard. And to me, that's very unprofessional.
Everything. So that control element is going to be very key. And I think to some extent, the revenge porn charges kind of illustrate that for the jury, because you're right. It's not the traditional kind of sexual assault. But when we talk about control, when you talk about him having control of finances and everything else and all these rules, I think that level of control will be demonstrated to the jury, and I think they'll be able to get the sex assault convictions as well.
Neiman, do you think the jury is going to see him as a cult leader?
Oh, potentially, yes, Vinny. And, with these sexual assault cases, like you said, it's really tough to predict what will happen. I mean, we've seen juries hang Bill Cosby the first time, Danny Masterson, right? So, we come here on Court TV, I like to make predictions, but you're right. I mean, on one hand, the argument is, well, the sexual contact didn't happen, but that's not the case. Was it consensual, right? And is this someone that regretted it? So I don't think jurors are going to like someone they perceive to be a cult leader. I don't think they're going to like someone that, releases explicit pictures and videos and revenge porn after they have sexual contact with someone. That's going to make the defendant not likable. Is that enough to get a conviction? I don't know, Vinny, but this is a very likable defendant, in my opinion.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter if they like him or not. I mean, we all know it does because people are human, but at the same time, it shouldn't matter. Bill Cosby ended up getting out of jail. How did he get out of jail? Did his lawyer appeal something? I gotta look that up. That ought to be interesting. But I definitely my only thing about why I don't feel confident making too many estimations is because the Three Blind Mice and Eligio, I just don't, I don't know. I know that they don't have it, but with him, you can never really tell, so, because it's a part of me, regardless of what we saw him putting on a show. I do think that he was using strategy here that people laughed at and thought was ridiculous. However, it makes sense because in the eyes of the law, if y'all go back and you listen, when the lawyer even spoke up, when I heard him speaking up, I said, yep, they're working together on this. Okay. And the lawyer was pointing out, the guidelines, and the DA, he looked it up and he was like, he basically read what should happen, but they just spoke from their personal feelings, him and the judge. And they were like, oh man, please, it's been around this long. We're taking precautions. We're here. Let's go. It was like, forget your request. Is this on record? Is it on record? It's on record.